Once you get your girls to run really fast down the runway and they're looking at the board and they hit the board with their arms somewhat down, you're going to move on to straight jumps, tuck jumps, and then eventually handstand flatbacks. There are a lot of important aspects to the handstand flatback, with one of them being the heel drive. So this is one of the most basic drills that you can do. You can just have your girls get on either their vault or really any flat mat, and using their muscles in their butt and their legs and not momentum, they're pulling their legs up as fast as they can and as tight as they can. This second one is definitely for girls who have more of a strong handstand and they really know how to squeeze their bodies. If they're not squeezing their bodies, they're definitely just going to fling over on this one. They also need to know right where the top of their handstand is to do this one as well, so that they can stop and then go back down to do it again. And then the third one that I'm going to show is one that I do with a lot of my girls lately. You can kind of see here that they are a little bit arched and loose while they're doing it, but with the amount of mats that I have them using and going into the pit, this ensures their safety. I like this one because it really requires them to stretch their bodies out like they will on vault, and then it requires them to also get into the handstand before actually falling flat on their backs into the pit. The thing that I like about this drill the most is that it gets girls to stretch their bodies out in order to get into the complete handstand, which is something that's really hard to do if you just try to tell them to stretch out when they're actually vaulting. So make sure that you're having your girls start with their arms straight out in front of them, as opposed to starting with their arms straight up and down by their ears. If they start with their arms straight up and down by their ears, then they're not going to be able to roll over the mat and stretch out. They're essentially just going to go flat down, and they're not going to be able to stretch their hands out very far, and then they're not going to get all the way to the cheese mat, and then they're not going to be able to actually do the flat back. So that's why I really like this drill. It really gets them to stretch out, like I said before. So make sure that you're making your girls start with their arms straight in front of them.